Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Bedford Board of Education meeting on Thursday, May 15th, 2025. If we could have roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton?
Here.
Ms. Turner Birch? Mr. Akins?
Here.
Ms. Macklin?
Here.
Ms. Carter?
Here. Thank you so much. If we can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance Thank you so much. Next, we have the acknowledgement of our goals. We have the acknowledgement of our goals. Please read those at your leisure. Mrs. Boynton, if you can read, please.
Sure. Visitors are always welcome to our board meetings. If you wish to address the board, please complete the form provided upon arrival at the meeting and give it to the treasurer. Oral presentations are limited to 3 minutes each so that the meeting may proceed uninterrupted. Please silence all electronic devices. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've got a full house. Hello. Next is our 3.01 audience may address the board. Do we have any green cards?
No cards returned in.
Thank you so much. Moving on, we're going to go ahead to our award presentations and communications. So 4.01 is our First Ring Student Leadership Institute. I am going to have Miss Amy Herjeski. I was close. I'm always close. Darnice Stevens and the FRSLI students. Come on up. Sorry if I murder names.
I'm Amy Hujarski. I am a science teacher at Bedford High School, and this is Darnice Stevens. She is at Columbus. We are the advisors for the First Ring Leadership, and these are our students. We will let them introduce. So First Ring, what it is the students find a problem that they think is within the building, and they figure out a way to fix it. And they spend the whole year. Every month we go on a field trip, and they spend the whole year processing, investigating the problem, surveying students and staff, figuring out a way to solve it, and then they present it at the end of the year. And so we're going to let them do the speaking because that's what First Ring is about. It's student focus. So that's all for me, and the rest is the students.
Anybody want to go first? You can come over here.
Okay. So,
Kind of stand so that you can talk to them and the board.
Okay. How close I gotta be? Okay. Hi, my name is Deshaun. I'm a sophomore this year. And with First Ring, for our problem at least, it was trying to recognize untraditional sports and clubs. So we spent a lot of time doing research on what clubs are kind of the untraditional. And we did a student survey. We analyzed the responses. Made a whole presentation, presented it last week for our final field trip / banquet, and we honestly did a really good job. Everyone was able to communicate with each other during like the whole year and work together. I know a lot of us, we weren't as close before. I mean, some of us knew each other, but this program made us closer because Miss Stevens, she was on us about everything we did. Miss Hujarski too.
So bad, though.
No, it's not. It's not bad, but it's like she was trying to be that like kind of teacher parent that like if we were like nervous, obviously, then we can also it's also good to be nervous. For me at least, it was bringing energy. I always trying to be chill, and she was trying to more energy every time we were rehearsing. Yeah. So yeah, it brought us leadership, brought us companionship, and yeah, that's all from me.
Anyone who wants to go next?
Okay. Hi, my name is Aeneas Mady. I was also a part of this group. I'm a sophomore. Sorry. My thought about the entire project as of the non-traditional sports and clubs was it's trying to get everybody more involved in everything, and it's trying to get us all to, we want everybody to think about everybody who wants to do something, not just focus on the main, like, the two things we always think about in sports, that, like, whatever comes to your mind at first, but we want to think about everything we can and not just look at one group of people and base everything on that. We want to look at everybody and see how everybody is acting and how they want to be felt and seen in their groups and whatever they do. And I think that this program was very good for us because it got us to think about more things of why we want to do in our school and how, like, what's good in our school and what we, like, things that we need to improve that help us be a better school community in a way of what we want to be with our school. And it also helped us understand what our school needed and what our school already had that made us good school in general. I was thinking. Okay, I'm.
My name is Angelina Moore, and I'm also a sophomore, and also with our project, it was to focus on non-traditional sports and clubs. So a lot of the time, only football and basketball are represented, and a lot of other sports who also do good aren't. So we mainly focused on recognizing those other activities. And then we also surveyed students and staff, and they also agreed with what we thought the main problem was. And we also chose the problem because we thought that was what we could improve on the most, and the community could also help. So that was mainly it. And then first ring, it also involves like other schools within the area. So we also got to listen on to what other problems were within other schools, and then we got to see like how similar other schools were to us, and like they also helped us with solutions to what we could use to improve our problem. And it was just a good experience overall because it also improved our presentation skills, our social skills, and stuff like that.
Hi, my name is Janelle Brown, and I'll keep this short. But like everybody else said, I think that we decided to pick this because we wanted to recognize the untraditional sports, so no football, no basketball. And I knew about it, but I didn't know it was such a big problem. So recently on Tuesday, I think, I went to the choir concert just to show my support, and I invited a friend just because people don't really talk about choir. So I went there, and it had a decent crowd, but it's nothing compared to like football games. So we kind of want to increase that. And yeah, so some recommendations that we had was most of the people don't know because they don't listen to announcements. So we wanted to make announcements more effective and engaging. So we want the AV teacher, the audio and visual teacher, to take over announcements and make them more appealing to student interest and include daily sports schedules for sports that's not just football and basketball, and also daily event schedules and stuff. We also wanted to have a social media accounts for individual clubs. So our sports club have a Barstool account where that's where all their schedules and stuff is put out, but clubs don't have that. So we wanted clubs to have that. I think that this project was very important for us 4+1 to Her name is Rain Lehner, but she's not here today. But yeah, I think this was so important for us to do because it got us more into public speaking. Like, I couldn't imagine me doing this, speaking to a board, like a year ago. I don't know, it's so fun. I feel like this has made me want to do more leadership opportunities. Like, I want to be drum major, so this kind of like makes me more excited for that, I guess. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
And you're so okay, so that-
I'm sorry, I meant to keep it short.
I just wanted to say, we're just so proud of them. Whenever we get our students at the beginning, they're so quiet, they're so reserved. But by the time we get to this time of the year, they're very vocal, they know each other, they want to take on leadership roles. And it's just, it does us very good to just see them blossom. We have some 3 years. They weren't able, because again, they're graduating, but they stayed 3 years. We had 4 kids that stayed through the program 3 years, and they worked on a program at the state level, a problem of the teacher pipeline. So it continues on after the 10th grade, and they'll have that option to continue that. It is one of those programs where it is designed to empower them, that they can make a change in their environment. I don't think they really understood the level of research they did, because they did it like a collegiate level of research, and even analyzing and learning all these different analytical terms regarding it. But I think they had fun along the way, and I think that they are more encouraged that they can speak up and make a change. So, that's it.
Thank you so much for
Do you
that.
guys have any questions for them?
I don't have any questions, but I will say you have a whole cheer section right here about becoming a drum major. I just want you to know I heard a whole cheer over here. But no, I love the recommendations that you all brought up as far as doing the audiovisual for your announcements, bringing more awareness to the groups, the social groups and other things, and not just sports. So I appreciate you all having that mindset and bringing that to someone's attention. So because we need students like yourself to think outside the box and bring to us what we need to see, or what you need to see more of in order to understand what's going on. So great job.
Thank you for having us.
I have a
Anybody
question.
else? I know there's.
I do. I have a question. First, thank you. It was very informative, and that was, actually you answered one of my questions. I think you did too, but I have a couple more. What's the criteria for being on the committee? And I think you did tell me, how long do they serve on the committee? And where do the recommendations end up?
So, what
Well, it's 3 questions. So.
Okay.
So what happens is actually, they have to be sophomores, and what we do is we do teacher nominations, and we actually base it off of, and we actually have other schools who love the way we do this.
We made a concerted effort to make sure the different types of students are represented, because traditionally it usually focuses on the higher achiever students, and so we wanted to make sure we touched all of the populations. Again, and one other aspect we wanted to add this year is once they get selected, we brought everyone in and we told them about the program, and then they submitted that they wanted to be in it. And then we chose, again, looking for leaders in different areas and categories type. And one other aspect that we wanted to add is after you've submitted, then you share with us why you would want to be part of the program. And as far as your third question, what happens to the recommendation, it depends on them. And they've talked to the staff, and they've talked to Principal Lewis, and so there's some things that they may be able to do. I know our seniors who in their first year, they were able to incorporate some of their recommendations in the back to school activities. So it's up to them to continue if they want to. Traditionally, in the past, the program had made the second year start to do your implementations, but the last 2 years, they've had them more working on a state level problem, so that they were working with Columbus and school districts that are in the southern to focus on a state problem. So they're still trying to work out what they intend for the second and third years to do. We're just part of it. We're not the facilitators of it. Yeah. Did that cover all 3? I don't know if, okay.
Yeah, and We
Yes.
actually
Oh,
had,
5 students, okay.
yeah, we actually had about 20 nominations.
Yeah.
So we had to dwindle it down to 5.
Thank you.
All right, thank you again for having us.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, and keep up the great work. Next on the agenda, we have 4.02, which is our Chromebook technology report. We are going to have a presentation by Antoine Corbett, Supervisor of Instructional Technology. Come on up. You look so excited to be up there.
Gotta make a little adjustment. There we go. First of all, I just want to say good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, members of the board, board president, Dr. Johnson and Taylor. Thank you for having me speak up here today. I just wanted to go over, there was a little bit of miscommunication that went on for the state of the schools that I wanted to address and just clear some numbers up. So starting off, at the state of the schools, it was reported that the tech department manages 8,000 Chromebooks. That was wrong. We manage 8,000 Chrome devices. So I have a report here. It goes over like a spread of all the devices we have across the district. We have about 2,000. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So if we look at this report here, we have about 2,000 devices that are deprovisioned out of that 8,000. Deprovisioned devices are devices that we have that are on track to recycling, whether that be to damage beyond repair or whether that be for devices that just get old and reach end of life status. We have about 6,000 devices that are provisioned. Now be mindful, when I say this, not all of our provisioned Chrome devices are Chromebooks. We have Chrome devices around the district, whether it be, if you're walking around our schools, you'll see a security desk. The device, it's called a Chrome box. It's a device on the back of just a monitor that will turn that basic monitor into a full working Chrome device. That counts as a Chrome device. We have things like, here, hold on, where is that? We have guard stations, our menu screens in our lunchrooms. Those operate off of Chrome boxes, so that's technically a Chrome device. Not so much anymore, but I know we still have a couple of them sprinkled around. Computer labs, those operate off of Chrome devices. So just be mindful when you see that number, not all of that 6,000 is Chromebooks. So to speak a little bit more, what do I want to say? Perfect, okay. So our actual Chromebook numbers are more towards 3,259. Those are Chromebooks that we will use in classrooms and for testing. Now, could we scroll? Perfect, thank you. So if you look at this chart, you will see we have 3,259 non-compliant devices. It's just non-compliant because when we have a device, we hold them to a certain OS to keep secure for testing and just stability. We don't want devices on too new of operating systems that'll cause bugs and glitches, and with testing, we don't play any games. Now we have 3,402 unsupported devices. That is a mix between devices that are end of life. That is a mix between devices that we have that we're holding on to for we'll talk about that later, but we're holding on to for further use, just to make sure we're really getting good usage out of everything we own. And then 207 devices with updates pending. That's just devices we could possibly have in storage, just ready to go, just in case. Now, speaking of the situation we have where we can get extra life out of these devices, that photo right there is Heskett room, oh my goodness, room 101, I believe. Thank you, Heskett room 101. So all of those desktops are now considered Chrome devices. The reason why is those are Acer Veriton all-in-one desktops. They reached end of life. They were bound to be recycled. We could get no use out of them until one of my instructional coaches, I know that's not the right title for them, but I'm just say instructional coaches took a look at our stock, took a look at our inventory, saw what we had, uploaded. It's called Chrome Flex. It extends the end of life for certain devices. It has to meet a certain criteria. That way we can get a little bit more use out of it. Don't have to buy brand new devices and keep us well within spending habits. I know that was a little scattered all over the place, but I just wanted to make sure I kind of covered all bases. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me.
I don't have any questions, but I must say, I heard Taylor say, I'm very happy with the extension of life over here.
Yes.
And not having to spend money, so
100%.
that is,
We, if you go anytime you come over to the tech department, I will happily do a walkthrough. We have Frankenstein computers all over. If we get a total loss from somewhere, we're like, okay, all right, the screen's not broken. Let's take that. Let's put it to another device, just so we don't have to keep buying parts, and because
That's good.
I
that
appreciate,
stuff is expensive.
and I appreciate that. I do actually have a question. You mentioned the
course.
on these computers that you were just showing, the Flex.
Yep, Chrome Flex.
Yes. So how much longer does it give life to those computers in order to extend?
I believe it depends on the model, but these computers specifically, and I can double check this, I want to say it is through 2027. So it gives us a couple more years.
Okay.
It just, the devices have to meet a certain criteria of just native operating system and just power in general. These aren't super old devices. I graduated in 2019. These devices were in use, during my high school days. So they're not too out of date, but we just want to make sure we're getting as much use as possible out of them.
I appreciate
Save us
that.
You
money.
got that
Save
right.
us money.
100%.
Always about that.
I have a question. What is the life of a Chromebook about?
I'm going to say, if you're really lucky, 7 years.
7 years.
Most of the time, 4 to 5. Especially because it has to survive multiple students, so it could vary.
Okay. I was just wondering with
Of
good
course.
all that.
Of
All right.
course.
That was my question. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank you.
And keep doing the great work you're doing. Obviously, you are doing some great things in that department, so I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sure I speak for everybody. And you're saving us money, so that's always a good thing. 4.03, we have our facilities update by GPD. So I'm gonna have Russell coming up. Appreciate you. This is always a great time to.
Good
and I'm-
evening.
Good evening.
Gary, if I fail, I'll need your help. There we go. We'll try to keep it short and sweet, Taylor. 3 minutes. 3 minutes? All right. Ready? Just a quick update. We have a lot happening, so 3 minutes is tough, but we do have 3 projects underway in various stages, right? So we had an amazing groundbreaking this past Saturday. Really exciting time for the community. Great turnout, great weather. Each of the board members had an opportunity to speak, and so that was just amazing to be a part of. That will kick off the construction, right? So that started on Tuesday for the middle school across the street. In about 4 weeks, we're going to do another groundbreaking date to be determined for the K2 building over behind Heskett. And then about a year from now, the schedule's shown, we're going to be looking to bid and start construction of the high school. So a lot is happening, and it's going to start happening quick over there at the Heskett site, or over at the Chanel site, sorry. So that's just a picture I have here. There was professional photographers, and this is just my my photo, but there's going to be some other great ones to put out there for the district. We've talked about the site plan, so I'm not going to spend time here, but just wanted to familiarize yourself with the exciting happenings across the street, some exterior renderings of that. One thing I hadn't shown you yet, the board, and therefore the community, is the interior renderings. So we're going to show those tonight. So again, the middle school, this is the science wings with the glass high up for security. This was an image just from our design inspiration images. We kind of like the idea of this idea of budding and flowering in the middle school and then blossoming into flower, as you grow through the district, all 12 years, because you're going to touch each one of these new buildings at some point. So we use these images to kind of springboard into our interior renderings. So first, this image is a rendering of the middle school student dining. This space will function as pre and post, before games, before any kind of activity in the school. The doors at the far end of that student dining will access the gym. So first image here is the Pride, Tradition, and Achievement slogan that we're going to have some visual vinyl graphics on the walls to kind of bring in some of that color. This is the middle school gym. Minor tweaks to this, but this is pretty much what you're going to see. Natural light, bleachers on the far end, access from the bus drop-off on the far side of that gym, and kind of excited to see that one come together. This is a typical classroom, so just different options for seating we've explored. Furniture is something that we haven't technically bid yet. We're going to do a furniture fair with the students and teachers so you can kind of kick the tires. We're going to do kind of mock up a classroom and let everybody kind of vote on what furniture they want to see in these buildings. Obviously there's an economies of scale when you talk about lots of furniture, so we want to make sure it's enjoyed by at least 50%. And before we buy a lot of furniture for these buildings, we want to make sure it's a majority vote. And then this is part of that ELA, which is an extended learning area. There will be classes, because currently the middle school functions as teams. So there's like 6th grade team A and B, 7th grade team A and B, and so we're looking at kind of the in-between that area of 6th grade, and this is a team. This is where if you open up that sliding operable wall, you can then co-teach, and the teachers at current Heskett, the middle school teachers that we met with for the committee, really enjoyed that option to open up and have a bigger area to enjoy. And of course the natural light above. And then this is the media center. Media centers look a little different than they used to, but this is still an opportunity to have different ways to read. Sometimes that means like reading books in nooks, and so we kind of created this idea on the wall where you can sit and enjoy and read. Some small group rooms for 4 kids, 6 kids, or 8 kids, so like different size groups can meet. And then this has access to a courtyard, which we can kind of see on the left-hand side of that image. And then Jason's going to talk to the K2 site. Sorry, Taylor, I'm working on it.
Keep it fast, keep it fast. Yeah, so K2 site, we'll do a similar update. We'll go through, give you the interior renderings. A couple updates on the site plan. This hasn't really changed from what you saw last time, but we were able to report some good news. We went to Planning Commission Tuesday, and we've got the final site approval. It was unanimously approved, which is good news. Similarly, these were the previous renderings that we had shared with you, but again, to kind of tee you up for, set you up for some of the interior renderings. So this is the entry and drop off for the K2 building. Looking at the 1-2 grade wing, the playground area along the back side. And then again, using the same kind of visual preference and positioning that Russell had touched on with the K2 building. This is going to be the smaller kids, so we reference this to like the seedling. So we also heard the community say that they would like a lot of color within this building, with the younger kids. So you'll see some of that a little bit different on some of the interior renderings. So this is sort of the, as you walk into the building and go through the vestibule, this is kind of what greets you first, is a connecting stair that connects the first story and the second story. But it's nice and wide and open, lots of color that you can see there. To the left is going to be what the media center is, which we'll show next, but that's kind of right in the central hub that connects all of these great stories together. So this gives you an image of that media center. Again, a lot of, like Russell said, what we're trying to do with 6-8, a lot of flexible seating. We've got a combination of interactive sort of learning spaces plus areas for reading. We like that little bean area that we put in the center of the bookcases too, for some, additional seating options. But again, lots of color. Views of the typical classrooms. We'll have height adjustable monitors here for the different grades. It's a little bit more important at this younger age, but otherwise, again, furniture to be determined, but gives you a good sense of the classrooms. And then the last image that we've got for the K2 building, this is the student dining that we're looking at with the gymnasium to the right. We've got that divide or operable partition so that wall can open up and it can be nice one large space for community events or all school events that we have. But again, lots of color and natural light that we're trying to bring into that space.
We showed that rendering of the playground on the back side of the K2, but it was a placeholder. We hadn't really, we designed the size of it based on the quantity of kids that will be in the building and multiplied it by a square foot, and that tells us how big a playground is going to be based on the Ohio School Design Manual. But then we wanted to bring kids in that are going to be using these playgrounds, and so we had a really fun activity, kind of encourage the students of excellence to say, what do you want in this playground? Because certainly I can pick a slide or a swing set, but it's by no means what the kids are going to want to pick. So we put together some ideas, some things that get the kids thinking, like, when you go to a playground, what's your favorite thing to do? And so we brought stickers, we brought, you could say, I like this one or that one. It was a really kind of cute activity to see kindergarten through fifth graders tell us what they want and certainly what they don't want. We heard some kids very passionate about what may have scared them on a past playground. But it is good feedback, and we're including that in the design for these playgrounds. What better way to kind of celebrate the students of excellence, but also bring them in to help encourage them to think about design and how they can impact the future here at the K2. So again, we gave them a lot of options. We gave them kind of some starters to think about. This was kind of what we started with for the design, but we said this is all subject to change based on the feedback we received from you guys. And then again, this is them putting those stickers on which panels they liked the best, which rockers or spinners that they could go on to on the playground. And at the end, we did an activity because it can look a lot of different ways. We started with green, obviously, but we had them take a color palette of different flowers, like of what those playground could be, like color-wise, and tell them to build a bouquet. And so it was kind of cute to watch them put a palette of colors together, and that will drive some of the decisions that we make for what the colors look like. And at the end, they on the photo on the right, they put together those bouquets, and ironically, it was 2 days before Mother's Day, so it's just cute for them to make a bouquet of flowers and be able to take that home to their mom. And then, so that's all of us here in this room, kind of with all those bouquets put together. So that's the 3-minute version of our update. I don't have any updates for the high school, but we're going to start to add on to this as we move forward. So we're celebrating kind of the construction starting on the 6-8 and the K2. We'll have more design updates as we move forward for the high school. We're currently workshopping how that high school is going to lay out on this site. So that's all we have. Any questions?
Any questions?
Not a question per se, but I do love how you incorporate the students with the playground, because they're the ones that are going to be using that equipment, that age group. So it's good to know that they're having input on what exactly is fun for them, because our perception of fun may not be their perception.
Right.
I love the use of the colors. I had a question on one of the renderings. So it was the K through 2 school. It was like the cafeteria area. Okay. Is that like a stage area to the left?
It's a 1-step 6-inch. It's not by code, not a stage. It's a platform.
Okay.
But it gives the idea that if you're going to have a presenter or you're going to have a projection, that's where it's going to go. Basically, it's our best way of introducing the idea of a stage, but not taking away the use of it 95% of the time throughout the day. So this gets used all day long by way of making it handicap accessible, and also we can still put seating up there. So, yeah.
All right. That's all I had.
Yeah.
So aesthetically, you know, I think it's very nice. I'm liking the use of different colors across the district in the various buildings. I did notice a few things in the middle school building compared to the K2. When you went to the classroom sizes, they seem to be smaller in the middle school, and then the K2 building, they seem to be larger. And one thing with the middle school that I also noticed, when you showed a classroom, it looked rather small, but then when you showed the teaching space where you could, the flexible teaching space, it looked larger. Is this an actual floor plan of what this is gonna look like? Like, I would like to see an actual floor plan. What are we actually building to? Actual classes, how many classes are we looking at? Because I like seeing this. However, I would also like to see actual floor plans and how many and what we are specifically looking at. Because I can see if a classroom is going to be that small, then, and we have a flow space that's so large, could we take some of the flow space and make it a classroom that's a little bit larger? And I'm just thinking of also, you know, we did go through a pandemic. And if the classroom is that, and of course you can't tell by a picture how much space it is, but if we ever had a pandemic again, that doesn't, looking at it, it doesn't allow for even me to have this, enough spatial space to be separated from someone, but yet there's space in the hallway to be able to do that. And also thinking middle school, and I understand there's going to be different pods, but also just thinking about hallways, and just the access of how students are moving, even with that flow space and that being a hallway, how much noise or how much, you know, distraction could that also be, you know, in that space? And so if we could have more closed space in the classroom, even though I understand teachers like having that flow, and that's great being able to have that extra space. But I'm just saying, where else can we like close it off and be able to still
I
expand?
think I got all three questions. Let me start with the first one. The square foot for the classrooms, they are different. The Ohio School Design Manual prescribes 1,200 square feet for kindergarten size classrooms.
Okay.
So you have some flexibility. You can go 10% below, but that's what you get. 1080 is basically 10% below 1,200. That's what the kindergarten size classrooms are. When you get into first and above, it's 900 is the prescribed square foot. You can again go 10% below, which is 810. So you're right, they are smaller, but that's kind of driven by the design manual that we work really hard to follow, because that's tied to your co-funding and the state money that we certainly want to make sure we get. So that's, yeah, you're right, this size is a little smaller. Second question, the ELAs, the extended learning area. Those are compartmentalized per grade level. So it's not really a hallway. The 7th graders will never interact with the 6th graders, for instance, while they go to their student dining or gym. There's access control doors that basically can stay open or could be closed throughout the day for safety and security, which is a good thing. We heard really positive feedback from the teachers, and that's the way some other districts in the neighboring communities are designed. So there shouldn't be as much loud noise out in the corridor, because the corridor is actually separated from the extended learning area. So there's only 4 classrooms, and you get an extended learning area. If you open that wall, then you'd have 8 rooms, but that's basically what you're gonna have for 6th grade, 8 for 7th, and 8 for 8th. So there's basically a total of 24 rooms compartmentalized down to 8, 8, and 8 throughout the building. That's one way to compartmentalize and kind of maintain that safety. And then floor plans, we try not to share them to be totally transparent. We like to share these because we to the community and to the board, but we don't like floor plans to get out there. We can put draft across them and we can put labels across it, but for safety and security, we try to keep as much behind the scenes as we can, so that bad guys get to see the building and know which doors and access to get into. So if you want to come to a core meeting, I'd love to share with you the whole plans.
Also, I didn't see that there's an auditorium space in the middle school either, or a stage production space.
Correct.
So what is that?
Yeah, fortunately the future Heskett Middle School will be across the street from the,
So will you be utilizing, okay.
yeah. There is space. We designed the gym to hold, you know, because obviously if you pack 628 kids from the middle school into a gym, it could get warm. So we designed the HVAC to handle that load of people. Certainly any type of all-student assembly would happen in the gym. There's bleachers for that. We have some projection screens for them to present for, you know, principal announcements. But yeah, technically, there's no stage auditorium. I think the kids actually, what we've heard, is love to come to the high school, kind of to be the big, you know, go to the big high school and do their holiday, you know, concerts. And we're really happy about starting that high school design and including the auditorium, the traditional auditorium.
So that would have been an LFI as well?
Correct, yes. Yeah, you're right, Dr. J. The state doesn't fund auditorium. So even for your high school, which you will get an auditorium, that's locally funded and was added on.
But we've been using your high school anyway with most
Yeah.
of
Right.
it, so, okay.
So, and I appreciate you,
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna be right there, so, I appreciate it, and I know that at one of our community meetings, that was asked of you also about the renderings of the floor plans, and I know you've mentioned, just so, again, just to repeat to the community that for security reasons, we don't wanna put those out. But these kinds of things can be seen, but
Yeah.
in order to keep our students safe, we wanna make sure that, you know, if we're able to see it, yes, cause we're gonna be in the buildings, but we don't want any, security issues, I guess you could say, happening. So I appreciate that. Any other questions or comments?
One question, that open area where, you said there's gonna be, I guess, a extended learning area. Have you considered having, like those clear sound barriers, like the sound walls like they have at, you probably see them at like churches or something around the drums, where they have things to kind of keep the sounds contained a little bit. Have you considered something like that?
We designed for, it's called an STC classification. It's a prescribed sound transmission classification, and we're going, sorry, long story, I'm trying to summarize quickly. We're going for LEED certification, which will require an enhanced sustainability approach to the buildings. It tells us to design to 70 STC, and everything that we see in the ceiling is gonna help absorb that. The white acoustical panels are gonna help absorb that sound.
Okay.
And then the operable partition, when it's closed, will also meet that sound transmission classification. So while we don't have a kind of sound curtain, we do our best on the four walls that we have around us.
Okay.
Hope that answers the question.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
Okay.
And I just wanna say, if anybody has not had a chance to, just look across the street, drive past there, they're starting to do work and it's exciting.
And then later, you'll have an opportunity to vote on the early site package GMP for the K2 school later today, so.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you so much, Russell.
thanks.
I know you tried to do 3 minutes.
Well, sorry.
You tried. All right, moving on, we're on 5.01, consent agenda. Can I have a motion for our consent agenda?
So moved.
It has been moved by Mrs. Boynton, second by Mrs. Macklin, that we approve the consent agenda. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. We are now moving on to our superintendent's report. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Johnson.
Good evening, Board President, Vice President, and board members. This evening, I have several recommendations to bring before you. The very first one is the tentative graduation list. I know that, you know, it's that time of year. So graduation is a little over a couple weeks out, but we did want to give you that tentative list because this is the last board meeting before graduation. But there may be some shifts and changes as we come closer to that date. Under 6.02, we ask of your approval of the following resignations. Under 6.03, we ask of your approval of the following summer school administrative personnel. Also, this year, summer school, typically we had it at Heskett, but we will be moving it to Columbus, I believe. They talked about today because of the construction. So they're kind of working out those logistics, so we'll keep you apprised of that. Under 6.04, we ask of your approval of the following certificated employment contracts for administrative personnel. Under 6.05, we ask of your approval of the following classified administrative contract personnel. Under 6.06, we ask of your approval of the following non-administrative personnel. Under 6.07, we ask of your approval of the Summer Gear Up program. As you know, we have a grant with College Now, and there's two programs to that. There's Gear Up and College Now, and they do a lot of summer programming and field trips with the students, as well as ACT prep, some STEM projects and programs. So we're bringing that before you for the actual utilization of the facilities. Will be a little bit later, but this is about the programming part of that. Under 6.08, we ask of your approval of the following reduction in force. This is outlined in our written plan that you voted upon previously that was required to be submitted to the Ohio Department of Education. Under 6.09, we ask of your approval of the service contracts as represented or recommended by the Executive Director of Academic Achievement. And he's here if you have questions for him a little bit later. Under 6.10, we ask of your approval of the following Executive Director of Human Resources service contracts. She is here as well. 6.11, we ask of your approval of the following service contracts as represented by the Executive Director of Operations. And before I go into 6.12, under 6.10 as well, prior to coming to the board today, we actually had talked about some of these things in here in terms of some services for special education this year over the summer and preparing for next year. And prior to coming in, Taylor and I had a sidebar conversation with Dante about some of the cost savings that we have had as a result of our programming at the BEAR program, which are pretty exciting. And I appreciate all the hard work that Dante and Marion have done to bring some dollars back. So if you have questions about that, they can answer that. So moving on to 6.12, we ask of your approval again of this for the facilities utilization. I think Tad can answer any of those questions that you might have in terms of the approval of the nutrition services programming, approving the scope of work for the K-12 consulting company and food services. And 6.13, we have the facilities request.
Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna go ahead with. Hey, we're close to the end of the year. It's a lot going on. Let's go ahead with the 6.01 tentative 2025 graduation list. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mr. Akins, a second by Mrs. Turner Birch, that we approve the tentative graduation list as presented. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, passes 5-0. Thank you, board. Next, we have 6.02. Can I have a motion for resignations?
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Turner Birch and seconded by Mrs. Macklin that we approve the resignations of administrative personnel as presented. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Turner Birch?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, passes 5-0.
Now about the summer school, I'll wait till 6.04.
Okay. 6.03, administrative personnel for summer school 2025. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Turner Birch, second by Mr. Akins, that we approve the following administrative for summer school planning and or supervision of the defined rate per the administrative leadership development package. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes. Passes 5-0. Thank you, board. 6.04, motion for certified employment contracts.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, seconded by Mrs. Macklin, that we approve the administrative personnel for certified employment contracts. Do we have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I don't believe that the supervisor of people personnel services needs to have a 2-year contract.
Okay. Did you want to, no, did you anything?
I have time for you down there.
All righty. Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch.
I want to say no, but I want to say yes to everybody else.
Okay,
So
Ms.
yes.
Mr. Akins,
Same as Ms. Birch, I think Marion should not have a 2-year contract, but the rest, yes.
The only thing I would say is I also would like to say that this is a public session.
I know.
So if there's some concerns, it would be nice, as is written in my Friday notes, that there should be some conversations about that prior to this. So I also want to publicly apologize to all of her colleagues as well as Marion Armstrong, because I know all the hard work that you do. And that if I had known that there was any communication regarding this matter, I would have told you this ahead of time. So thank you.
I would like it to be put on the record that I said what I said. Thank you.
and Ms. Carter.
Yes. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
3. 5.
Huh? We're going to move on to 6.05, administrative personnel, classified administrative contracts. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, seconded by Mrs. Turner Birch. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, can we have roll call?
Yes. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Abstain.
and Ms. Carter.
Yes. Passes 4-1. Thank you, board. We're going to move on to 6.06, non-administrative personnel. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Turner Birch, second by Mr. Akins, that we have the approval of the hiring of the following non-administrative personnel. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes. Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes. Passes 5-0.
Can I go back up, please? Again, just, I know that at a previous board meeting, you had approved, a dean, and he was not, able to come at that time. So Mr. Travis has come here, at this time, so I didn't know, Mr. Travis, if you just kind of wanted to let them know who you are, as one of the Dean of Academic Achievement. He's currently an, ED teacher at the high school that will be assisting also in our BEAR program and some of the other programming. So I would like to thank you again for choosing Bedford one more time. I know you came to our district recently.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to put a face with a name. Thank you. And welcome.
And again, I just also would like to thank our leadership team and all that you do. I know it's been not so easy, as well as with our all of our public educators. These are thankless jobs in and out of the classroom a lot of times, and I know, unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why we have less individuals going into the field of education. But two, I would like to continue to thank you for choosing Bedford City Schools. In addition to that, I know that you've taken on not only the continued extra work, but last year you also agreed not to take the percentage ratage of a contract. And we alluded and chose to give that to our certified teachers and our classified. And I know that that was huge for you because you work hard and you have families as well. So I just want to continue to thank you for your dedication to the district. The same for our classified. just behind the scenes. A lot of times I know people don't see what you do, but I know that you go above and beyond to kind of keep everything running and working. We had a huge cyber situation right before school started, and though I know Paul was leading us, I know Antoine, you and your team were right behind the scenes in the thick of things, as well as Officer Hudson that's working day and night to do all that he can to keep us safe and secure. And I know that we can't say enough about Miss Tabor and all that she's taken on in that transportation department to kind of get things turned around. And I want to thank you, board, for your support. And then under 6.06, our administrative, executive leadership, our executive assistants, our clerks, and Shirley, we have Ms. Henderson there, just also thanking you for your support.
Thank you. And I ditto everything. I know it's not easy right now, especially in the world we're in, so all your hard work definitely pays off. And please know that if you don't get a thank you every day, we do appreciate you every day. So thank you to everybody.
I would like to ditto that. We really, really, really do. Thank you for staying in education.
Yes. Yes. Please don't leave us. All right, we're going to go ahead and move to 6.07, Gear Up. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. It has been motioned by Mrs. Macklin, second by Mrs. Boynton, that we approve the Gear Up summer program that will focus on STEM for current BCSD middle school students. Everything. Gear Up summer programs that will focus on information related to college career paths, scholarship opportunities, financial aid, FAFSA, college essays, resume building for current high school students, and that will focus on ACT prep, test taking strategies, and college and career readiness exploration. Can I have is there any questions regarding this? No? Roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, motion passes 4-0. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to 6.08, resolution to implement a reduction in force of teachers. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Macklin, second by Mrs. Boynton, of the approval of the reduction in force. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
No.
Ms. Carter?
Yes. Motion passes 3-1. We're going to go ahead on to 6.09, service contracts of Executive Director of Academic Achievement. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, second by Mrs. Macklin. Don't look at me like that. Look, it's a lot going on. Any questions regarding this service contract? All right, hearing no questions, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Mr. Akins?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, passes 4-0. Thank you, board. We are on to 6.10, service contracts for Executive Director of Human Resources, excuse me. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the service contract as presented.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, seconded by Mrs. Macklin, that we approve the service contract as presented. Do we have any questions regarding this?
Yes, one question. Are we able to pull one of these off of here to vote for it separately?
Which one are you looking to vote for separately? We have to have a motion.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'll make a motion to pull out the contract with Mount Zion off of this and vote for it separately.
No second? All right. So we have a motion, but there's no second, so.
Okay.
All righty. Moving forward, can I have a roll call?
Yes, Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
No, because of Mount Zion's contract.
and Ms. Carter.
Yes. Motion passes 3-1. Moving on to 6.11, executive contract, service contract for executive director of operations. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve the service contract as presented.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, seconded by Mrs. Macklin, to approve the service contracts as presented. Do we have any questions regarding this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Thank you, board. 6.12, resolution and quotation of, Executive Director of Facility Improvements and Special Projects. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It has been motioned by Mr. Akins and seconded by Mrs. Boynton that we approve the resolution of a guaranteed maximum price amendment. Any questions regarding this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
I guess I did have a question. This is the risk like how we did with the middle school, and this is now going into, okay, yeah, okay, yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes, passes 5-0. Thank you. 6.13, facilities request. Can I have a motion for our facilities request?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned by Mrs. Turner Birch and seconded by Mrs. Macklin that we approve all of our facility requests. Can I have, are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Yes. Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes, passes 5-0. Thank you. All righty, we are now on to the treasurer's report. I am handing this over to you.
Okay, I'm gonna step up to that mic, but
Perfect.
good evening.
Can I have that? No, just kidding.
Keep you on a timer this
Yep.
evening. Thank you.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Good evening, Board President, Vice President, Board members. Tonight I will be presenting the five-year forecast. Five-year forecast is a 3-year look back and a 5-year look ahead. It consists of the numbers that we know and the assumptions of what is to come, and it only covers the general fund. Reason we complete a 5-year forecast, as of right now, is Ohio Revised Code Section 5705.391. And that's what we're gonna go over tonight. So the general fund is the account for financial sources that are not restricted, and I put mostly because there are some restrictions in the general fund now. And they are specific purposes and otherwise required to be accounted for in another fund if it's restricted. This was our forecast in March when we did our written plan update. You can see that we were continued to deficit spend right here. I'm sorry you don't see the mouse, but that fourth line down, we were deficit spending. We were improving to what we had in the November forecast. We ended year 27 and with $1.9 million, and then 28 and 29 we were in a negative. Since then, House Bill 96 has passed the House and has been pushed on to the Senate. In House Bill 96, we are going to continue with the years 5 and 6 phase-in of 83% in 26 of the Fair School Funding Program, and then 100% in 27. What they are not doing is updating the base costs, which by doing this, it will increase the local share of what we receive, and the state share will continue to decrease. And you'll see that in this graph right here. Back in '99, when it was ruled unconstitutional in the DeRolf ruling, the state share percentage was at 45.7%. Currently, we are at 38.4%. And if we continue not to increase those base costs, and those base costs are driven by inflation and other spending, we drop all the way down to 32.2% in fiscal year '27. I might add that the March forecast that we presented, we did have a modest increase of 4% in '26 and '28. But moving forward, we are not going to predict those base cost increases. Also in House Bill 96, there is a 30% limit on the amount that a school district can carry over each year. So this will reduce the tax collection in the next fiscal year if a school district has over 30% of their cash balance compared to expenditures. And if you know on the bottom, the tax bill to the taxpayers will say, notice the school district taxes shown due on this bill are reduced only for a current year to the school district's excess carryover balance. So try to explain that to taxpayers when they call about their tax bill being different each year. And then also in '96, they will reduce the 5-year forecast that I'm presenting tonight to a 3-year forecast. And it will also modify the requirements for when a school district is determined to be in fiscal caution. Currently, they look at year 3 and it'll reduce it to year 2. So now we'll go on to the revenue. And this is, for this current year, you'll see the total revenue is $57,491,000. That is what is predicted based on the trends that we have. 48.97% is general property taxes. Then we have tangible personal property tax, unrestricted grants, and then the rest of them. So if we go line by line, you'll see our general property taxes, and I did want to note that currently our tax rate collection millage is 28.82 mils, so we are not near the 20 mil floor. We will not reach that for many years to come. Based on this last large increase, we gained about 3 mils, so I don't see us reaching the 20 mil floor in this 5-year forecast. This is your personal property. And then our unrestricted grants and aid. This is when I say it's mostly restricted because, I'm sorry, that's the next line. Our restricted grants and aids, which is 2.8 million, that is funds within the general fund that are restricted to specific purposes, such as disadvantaged pupil aid impact, student wellness, English learners, gifted, and career tech education. And this kind of sums up the rest of our revenue. So if you look at our revenue comparison from our 25 March forecast to our 25 May forecast with House Bill 96, you'll see the top line was what we were predicting in revenue in March, and without increasing those base costs, we dropped significantly over years 27, 28, and 29. Now we're moving on to our general fund expenditures. Currently, we're predicted to spend $61,632,000. Majority of those costs are personnel services and benefits, and then we have purchase services, supplies, materials, and everything else that goes in that. So with personnel services, which is salaries and benefits, that's about 80.25% of our total expenses for fiscal year 25. Purchase services then make up $8,200,000. Supplies materials is a little above $2 million. Capital outlay, currently we've only spent $34,000, and that is because we have not done any bus replacements or technology replacements. Moving forward, we can't continue to operate like that, so we will have to get more on a schedule as far as bus replacement. And you You can also see in our other objects, which includes membership dues and fees, and then the bottom line of just under 600,000, that's our transfers out and advances out at year end. So if you look at this comparison, you'll see that we are trending better than we were in March, and continue to trend better than we did predicted in March. So this is where our spring forecast is at. We end fiscal year 27 better than we did in March, but because of that loss of revenue, which is being foreseen in House Bill 96, we end up worse in 28 and then 29. And this is our forecast line by line. You'll see the revenue is trending below our expenditures, which is the top line. And as that happens, we continue to deficit spend, our cash balance continues to drop. And this is just shows you our cash balance of what we had in March compared to what we're forecasting now. We did make improvements in 25, 26, and 27, but then, like I said, with that revenue loss, we end up worse in 28 and 29. And this is our days cash on hand. I've noted that 30% carryover, which is proposed in House Bill 96, would equate to 110 days. So you'll see that in 21, 22, and 23, we would have lost funding had that been in effect. And then we continue to drop 26 days operating, so a little less than a month in 27, and then negative 11 and negative 61 days in 2029. So, just want to end on a positive note, we did issue all of our bonds today. Tad has been very happy because we have all the funding we need to build the buildings, and now we just need to continue to find ways to operate them.
I know that was painful for you. I appreciate all of the information you provide us. Are there any questions for him during this time? No? All right.
I also have one more thing.
Yes.
We went through the interview process, and I'm very excited to say that we have found a payroll specialist to fill the void that's been in my office, I believe, for the last couple years. So I'm recommending the hiring of Tina Graham. She comes with 4+ years of school district payroll experience and 20 years of overall payroll experience. So a very big asset for the district.
All righty, thank you. All right, do we want to take this together or separately? Together? All right, can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Second.
It has been motioned by Mrs. Turner Birch and seconded by Mrs. Boynton that we approve the treasurer's report as presented. Can I have a roll call?
Yes, Ms. Turner Birch? Yes. Ms. Boynton?
Yes.
Mr. Akins? Ms. Macklin?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes, passes 5-0. Thank you so much. Phew. All righty. On to 8, Board of Education, new business, old business. Do we have anything that we want to mention? I will say that I am excited about what's going on across the street. We had a great event on Saturday when it came to the groundbreaking, to see the people that were able to come. This is a huge time for the school district, so I'm really, really excited about that. Also attended the distinguished alumni event. What a great event we had, and everybody had us crying. But, you know, what wonderful honorees we had inducted, and I'm really excited for them, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future with future honorees. I attended OSBA's leadership conference last the weekend before that. A lot of great information. They're getting even deeper into the AI. I know we took the AI last year. And so just to see where AI is coming, and they talked a lot about all the House bills that were presented this evening. So lots of great information being brought to us. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Do we have any information from?
I did want to mention that this morning, the Bedford Schools Foundation had a scholarship breakfast.
Yeah, I knew it
We
was something. Thank you.
recognized a lot of the students that received
Yes.
scholarships for continuing education, and we also had a lot of past recipients come to give the students some very positive words of encouragement. It was great hearing it from their peer level, and just a great program, and just hope we can continue to honor our seniors with scholarships.
Yeah, just to reiterate, the various events that we attended over the weekend, also just celebrating Mother's Day. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day over the weekend. And as we're looking forward towards Father's Day, moving into June, I know we do have a board meeting that first week, but I know we'll be out of school by that time. So I just want to, before we get into wishing Father's Day, because there is something I do want to state about that coming up. I want to give acknowledgement. We did have a pre-graduation, tentative graduation list. I just want to acknowledge the fact that commencement is May 27th. So super excited to be attending that again. Can't wait to hear all the achievements, because every year we hear of all the many students going on, accepting so many different scholarships, and I want to hear that dollar amount again this year, that as a total of where our students are doing and how much they are getting as they are matriculating on from here and where they are going. This week has been National Women's Health Week. And I don't know who is a runner or a walker, but this weekend is the annual Cleveland Marathon, Rite Aid Marathon. So whoever's going to be out there, if you still want to register, you can still register. But Saturday is the 5K, and Sunday is the half marathon and marathon. So I just want to put that out there, since this week is Women's Health Week. Please get your mammograms. Have your dentist appointments, get your eye appointments, because it's those foundational well visits that you can uncover so many things. Early in advance and early detection is so important. Back to as it pertains to House Bill 96, Senate committees were Senate hearings were being held this week in the State House. Please reach out to your representatives. This bill, the funding bill, is in the Senate. They have not voted yet. They have been hearing. Please reach out to your representatives, no matter what side of the aisle that they sit on, because fully funding education is essential, as you can see, as Taylor has indicated, because it's indicative of the future of education and public education, and where we are headed. Now, I had mentioned Father's Day because there is a program coming up Thursday, July 17th, the Commission on Fatherhood meeting. They're to be part of a meaningful discussion on fatherhood initiatives. This meeting is open to the public. It will be held at the Vern Rife Building, 77 South High Street, the 31st floor. This is in Columbus, so if you do want to attend, there is a way to attend virtually as well. If anybody is interested, it will be from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., but this will be Thursday, July 17th. And there is a way to attend virtually. So if you would like that information, I can send to you. There is a passcode that I can send and a link. Also, just update, the Real ID went in effect on May 7th. You can still obtain that. So please, if you still need to get the Real ID in order for you to travel, be sure to go to your local BMV and obtain that new driver's license. Otherwise, there's going to be all these extra parameters. I know there was something on the agenda regarding the farmers. There is a Grow Ohio grant. The Grow Ohio grant helps enhance agricultural education in schools through an innovative farm-to-school projects, including gardening and food literacy activities. award range 5,000 to 40,000. I can forward this over to, I don't know who I might need to send this to, but I think this could be an opportunity for us. The deadline for this grant is May 28th, and I know this is something that we have been talking about. I know Jatina had reached out to Ridolph Farms before. I know I had introduced you two before, and I know Ridolph has the Farmer Jones now. They in Maple Heights. So I don't know if it'll be a great connection to be able to, you know, another way of funding. I know we're looking at partnerships, we're looking at opportunities for funding, and also I think it's a great way if we can teach our community and our students how to grow our own. Food is important, and if any way we can do farm to table and to help our nutrition program, we can grow our own and then feed our own students in the cafeteria. I think it'll be a great opportunity. So that's all I have to give in my report.
Just last two things. The one thing, I do want to go back to the distinguished alumni. I want to give a special shout out to our 3 students. Oh, well, because I have their names. You got their names? I have their names. We had Asa Marie Harris, Khalees Akins-Jones, and Marcellus Hunter. I will let you finish, but they did an amazing job and spoke so well. And then the last one is we have the Pancake Run, which is going to be May 31st, 2025. The 5K starts at 8:30, the 2K at 8:40, the 1 lap at 9:45. There are shirts for sale for $10. That flyer is out, and we will make sure that it gets to you again if need be. I know that everybody here is so excited. We do have an executive session to get into. So if I can have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session. Motion to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee. Also to discuss the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of any real, personal, or other property interests. And also to discuss with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are the subject of imminent court action.
Second. It has been motioned by Mrs. Boynton, seconded by Mrs. Macklin, that we enter into executive session for all those things presented. Can I have a roll call?
Yes, Ms. Boynton,
Yes.
Ms. Macklin,
Yes.
Ms. Turner Birch,
Yes.
Mr. Akins,
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
Yes, thank you, board. We will not be voting on anything as we come out of executive session, so everyone have a wonderful evening.